Hello, how are you?
I am fine. How's where you are today?
Oh, it's good, nice and
Oh,
sunny.
see, it's nice and
Weather's
sunny.
great.
Yeah, we won't talk about the weather. Right, everybody, meet Taylor. Um, what I was saying was the fact that the difference in when they get a scammer pretending to be an American military and a real American military are poles apart. Because the scammer comes on and he will sort of start to say things like, "You're beautiful, babe," and that's nothing that you would ever say, or any other person that you would ever say would say, would it?
No, that's definitely not how we talk. Like you said, we have more of a personality
Yeah.
when we communicate. And another thing is, it's 2020. A lot of the conversations and the texts and the words they're using, it's dated, right? The way that Americans, especially younger Americans, talk is nothing like the messages and emails and things like that are really common all around the world.
And I don't know anybody that calls anybody my dear.
Yeah, maybe, and it may be a different generation, but this younger generation definitely not.
No, I mean, even it would have to be a generation above me, because I don't think I've even heard of it. And so the thing is that the whole difference from when you're getting a scammer to say that he is a soldier or military, the whole difference, the whole persona is completely different as to when you've got a real person. Now, you can tell the personality of a person by a video chat. And this is a video chat. And you can do it, can't you, when you're away?
No, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, I keep using, the 2020, like this current day, and technology is so accessible, and these phones are so capable that you can literally communicate with anyone anywhere in the world. You can be in the middle of the desert and you can communicate with somebody back in the States. I mean,
Yes.
there's very, very few places on earth where you would not be able to have a conversation like we are right now.
Yeah. And the conversation would be the same quality as we've got right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it might not be as HD, but you would be able to tell that I'm a real person and that I'm actually speaking live right now, and that it's not a recording or a voiceover or anything like that. So
Something sort of dawned on me when we were talking last night, and it was the same when I talked to Steve, and I hadn't thought about it before. And I've had videos played to me where they were supposed to be, "Oh, I'll prove who I am, I'll video chat." So they come in and there's somebody in the gym or they're walking around or something like that. When you join a video chat with somebody, the first thing you do is smile and say hello. It's natural.
yeah.
You do. You don't sort of join the video chat and you keep on with what you're doing and you keep walking. The first thing you do on a video chat is you smile at somebody and you say hello to them and you join the chat. And you will never get that with a scammer. Not ever. And as we said, 2020, every phone has a camera.
Exactly.
And the cameras work.
Oh, I mean, and even if they don't, right? If you're in love with somebody, right? Love is a very powerful tool, right? If I'm in love with somebody and I need to communicate with them via voice or video, if my phone is broken, right? I'm gonna borrow a friend's, or I'm gonna find a way to communicate with you. I'm not gonna make up excuses and whatever, because a real person with a real personality is gonna find a way to talk to the person that they're in love with, one way or another. And I've seen it time and time again, with people I've worked with and stuff who have actually had, broken phones, or their phones weren't working. "Hey man, can I borrow your phone? I need to call my wife. I need to call my kids," or whoever. They find a way out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So.
And something else that they do that annoys me, but they do it, is these long copy and paste romantic texts that they get off the internet. We know they get them off the internet. But again, I don't know any man who would send somebody I meant to get one tonight to read it out because it's hilarious. But it's, you know, the sun goes down, the sun comes up and the moon goes down, and my love for you just strengthens. And I look at your pictures and I can see butterflies in your eyes. And I was thinking, oh no, but that's not natural.
And you're right. It's not in a lot of these copy and paste conversations. There's a lot of grammatical errors in them. In the flow of it, it's not natural. It doesn't really make sense. So if you read it, especially read it out loud, you're like, that doesn't even sound proper. So
no, and they're hopeless. And real people wouldn't do it. I mean, if I knew somebody for a long time and he started to send me long romantic text, I'd be a bit worried about it. But you know, if I'd never met him, that just is not going to happen.
Exactly.
So we'll say hypothetically that you are going to be deployed. Something I meant to ask, and I think of these things, you know, afterwards. If you're going to be deployed, how much notice are you given? Is it planned a long time in advance? Is it ever very short notice that you get?
Oh, it's definitely planned in advance. I mean, it's a big thing. It's not going to be
because I know you all go.
Right.
All of you in your unit will go together.
Yeah, it'll definitely be planned in advance. It's not going to be, oh hey, in 3 hours we're leaving. Like that's not the way that we operate. So
because women will get, you know, letters with long lists of names on, and their man's name is sort of halfway down, and they're going to get deployed tomorrow. Well, that doesn't happen.
No, it definitely doesn't.
And also, if you were in Afghanistan, you are not going to then find out at the end of your tour that you're going to be sent to Syria tomorrow.
No, again, like everything is strategically planned out well in advance. I mean, it's like I said, no one's going to tell you last minute, especially in the military, if you're already deployed somewhere that, oh, tomorrow you're supposed to go home, but now all of a sudden we're going to send you somewhere else. That's something that Hollywood glorified. That's like a movie tactic, and that's something that's a fantasy thing. It's not an actual, in real life reality, something that actually happens.
Because I think, they treat you like human beings.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and like we are human beings. We have a job just like everyone else. We just have a different style of job. We work a different lifestyle. But at the end of the day, we're still all humans. We still have, like you said, we still have personalities, and we still have those characteristics about ourselves, just like every other person in the world does too.
And when you're away somewhere, you're busy because you're working. In my mind, everybody in that unit has their place and their job.
Exactly.
So you are not, if somebody says to you, oh, he speaks to me 4 or 5 hours a day, nobody's got time to do that.
No, I mean, and when you are deployed and you are, somewhere else, you are going to have time, when you're not working to, have conversations and stuff like that. But if you're doing that all day, every day, that's a red flag, like we talked about yesterday.
Yeah, because what I'd like to get to the point, I'd love to get to the point where somebody got a contact from somebody saying they were military, and they thought to themselves, oh, no, it's a scammer, and just got rid of it.
Well, I mean, and that's a really good point that you bring up too, because I mean, how often do you get random messages out of the blue, just completely random, of someone that is head over heels in love with you on Facebook or Instagram? I mean, people don't just do that, right? It's not like something that I'm on Facebook and I'm like, oh my God, I'm just so in love with this person. Like those aren't real feelings that people have. I mean, when you really take a step back and you look at it, you're like, that just doesn't make sense. How did they find me, first of all? Why are they in love with me based off one picture, never talking to me, and nothing about me, but all of a sudden you want to get married, or all of a sudden you want, all these things. It just, to me, it just doesn't make sense.
On my profile picture on Facebook, it's got half of my face like that. It hasn't even got a full face. And I get these things saying, I was looking for a friend and I saw your picture on Facebook and I couldn't go past that smile. My mouth's not on there.
Exactly.
And it's sort of, you've got to step back and think, well, that's a bit strange. It's no good thinking, oh, that's rather nice, because it's not. you know. Yeah, now I'm going to ask you something here, because I ask everybody and I get more or less the same thing. Hangouts.
Oh,
Hangouts?
like Google Hangouts?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used that maybe 10, 12 years ago.
I ask everybody, and they either say, not much, or I have, but not now, or
Exactly.
what's Hangouts? You know, yeah. Now, the military do not use Hangouts app.
No, that was an app that was pre-Facebook, pre-Instagram, pre-Snapchat and Twitter. Like that's an old platform that was used in like the 2008, 9s and 10s. Like that's old technology. I mean, it's still around, but you know,
It's still around, and
no one's using it.
it's only scammers and victims. I
Exactly.
don't really know anybody else that's on there, and they keep them all in one place, you know, so that they can get them. They hunt them all over the internet, get them all on Hangouts, and it's Babe and it's Honey and My Queen and Angel and things like that. It's great because they don't need to remember the woman's name.
True.
But again, yeah, you wouldn't call anybody Babe, Honey, and My Queen.
No.
You see, you laugh, but I like the fact that you laugh. So right, we're going to get back to you being deployed to anywhere.
Okay.
Oh, Nigeria. You'll never be deployed to Nigeria.
No, definitely not going to Nigeria.
Well, to me, there's no reason for you to go to Nigeria. I mean, normally when they go to a war zone, there's a little bit of logic behind it, you know, and the United States Army and our army, you know, the British Army and the Navy, they're sent all over the world, but there's logic to where they've gone, and there's no logic to them being sent to Lagos, you know, walking around the streets of Nigeria.
Right.
So anyway, we've got you deployed somewhere, and you've met this woman, and they get sent a form to register as a fiance. To register as a fiance. Now, this form costs money. So there's a fiance registration form that they get sent, and they have to fill in all the details and send some money back. And please comment on how ludicrous that is.
It doesn't even make, I mean, first is why. I mean, if I'm deployed, the last thing I'm thinking about is getting married to someone I don't know. The last thing I'm thinking about is anything but that. I have a mission, I have a job, I have something that I'm focused on doing, not getting married and sending you paperwork. Like, I mean, I'm trying to wrap my head around, but it doesn't even make sense. Like, no one, especially in today's age, would do something like that, especially in the military. But not even the military, just like this generation between like 18 and 30, like that's just not something that's common. So it's kind of comical that you say that, because I can't even think of a time where that would ever
and it
be logical.
It happens, and it's common. And they have these fiance forms, and you have to fill it in, and you've got to pay a few $100s. And then the next thing is that you're going to ask the woman if she will send a message to apply for leave for you. Now, Taylor, there's no good being speechless.
Yeah, I mean, when you request leave, like if I was to request leave, that's something I have to do. Like, no one can do that on my behalf, because it's my leave that I, as the service member or the person, I don't have to do myself. You can't do it for me. So why would I send paperwork to a stranger to fill out on my behalf so I can take leave? Like, even if there was a paper that you filled out, even if I went to submit that hypothetically, you would be laughed at, because that's not even a real thing.
Yeah. And also, you're not going to go and ask the commander. So they get these forms, and it's got General Austin Scott Miller on the bottom.
No.
Well, I don't think General Austin Miller is going to know anybody of his men. So he's not going to be involved in the leave of the men.
You're absolutely right.
And there are departments, there are administration departments but they're not going to organize leave for you.
No.
And in the emails that they get, they do say things, you know, like, we congratulate Sergeant so-and-so on his forthcoming wedding, and we just hope it all going to work out. They're quite elaborate, these letters. They are quite elaborate. And of course, I think because they're elaborate, the women believe. But, you know, we're talking about a lot of money here, because we're talking about $2,000 or $3,000 to arrange a leave for a service member and some of these leaves are sort of like, you know, if you pay $5,000, you can have 6 months.
I mean, it doesn't even make sense. But, you know, no. with that being said, you know, my biggest thing is, you know, everyone has a phone these days, right? Everyone has a tablet or access to the internet or a computer. And I mean, the easiest way to debunk these types of things is a quick Google search. I mean, go on Google and, you know, just search military finance or, you know, military finance documents or I'm sorry, fiance documents or military leave requests. Like, you're going to quickly find out that they're not real. And that
it's so well documented now.
So, but I think the biggest thing for people who are being contacted by, you know, these sources, especially out of the blue, is just go on Google, just do a quick fact check. And if you do that, you will immediately notice that what they're saying is not true. And you don't even have to get involved in the conversation, because you're like, I did a quick search and I already know that this is, you know, this person isn't who they say they are. And what they're telling me is not even true, because I have my phone right here or my computer or whatever, and the facts are right here. So,
and you know, people will Google a sneeze. You sneeze and you Google to see what's wrong with you. You're asked to send $5,000 to Nigeria or some person by MoneyGram or Western Union.
Yeah, that's a huge red flag too.
Yeah. You know, nobody uses that.
No.
Well, nobody official uses that anyway. Now, again, we had another one again today where she opened a credit card for him and again ordered iPhones and MacBooks to be sent to an agent.
That one really hurts me, to be honest, because, you know, like we talked about yesterday, you know, when we are deployed and we are overseas and things like that, you know, we don't have a lot of the luxuries and things that we have stateside, right? So when we do request things, right, because I'm not saying that service members don't request things, but when we do, they're in the form of what we call care packages, which are, you know, boxes of mail which are sent with, you know, socks, coffee, maybe toothbrush, toothpaste, like necessities that we can use, maybe some board games or whatever to entertain us and to maybe replenish some of the things that we don't have, soap and stuff like that. It's things
I've seen you get chips and candy.
Yeah, oh, that's a bad change. Absolutely. But it's never a computer, it's never a phone, it's never anything that's so expensive you'd have to think twice. And these are people who are willingly, you know, sending it to the entire unit, not to just me specifically for my benefit. But I've never met someone who is I need 12 iPhones. And like you said, it's always the latest one. It's always the most expensive. That doesn't even make sense. A service member would never, ever ask you for that or anything along those lines. And they would never contact you directly, because the way those programs work is it's usually hosted on a website that the individual goes to, and they search and they find you. So you would actually find me and you would contact me saying, I'd like to support you. What do you need? Or I have like a page that says I'm requesting, you know, some snacks and things like that. But it's never, hi, I'm going to reach out to you. I'm in the military. Can you send me a phone or gift cards? Or it doesn't even make sense. It's so.
That's quite a good idea for me to find those sites, actually, because it might, you know, let's get women sending real care packages to real service members.
Exactly. I mean, and I understand, you know, people love the military and they want to support the military, and I'm very thankful. We're all very thankful for that. And what I recommend, if you do want to do that, like you said, I can let you know what the sites are. There are sites out there that are specifically made to help service members who are deployed anywhere in the world. And it's all branches. And you can click on their page, you can sponsor them, and it's, you know, you can send them packages, they'll write you letters back, and you can communicate, you know, that way. But you're actually giving them, you're actually giving them things that they actually need. And they're going to respond to you. They're going to write you back. They're going to send you a message or whatever, and you're going to know it's a real person. But again, you'll never see a $5,000 computer. You'll never see a $1,000 phone or anything like that, because that's not the type of people that we are.
I think it's pride as well, because if somebody asked me for a, you know, $1,200 or $1,500 phone, I'd be pretty disgusted at them. And I don't know anybody at all who would, you know, would out of pride, sort of, they wouldn't do it, because you wouldn't.
Well, even if you said, I'd like to buy you this phone, out of the, you know, the conscious, I couldn't, no, I can't accept that. There's no way, because that's not only expensive, but imagine what you could do with that money for multiple people. Like, you know, at a good conscience, I don't think any, you know, non-scammer, any regular person could accept a gift of that value, let alone multiples. So
so we've got the fact that you don't need anything. Another thing that happens, and you know, it's awful, this needs to be said, Taylor, but it does. The fact that if you're on a secret mission, you're not going to tell anybody.
That's why it's called a secret mission. I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, if I was going on a secret mission somewhere, the last thing I would have on me is a cell phone. And the very last, even if I had my cell phone, hypothetically, the last thing I would ever be using is Instagram or social media to communicate with,
Tinder.
Or Tinder, to any app to communicate with a stranger, especially.
You know, I've had them where, well, we actually met on Tinder, but no, he didn't tell me where he was, because he was on a secret mission. And it was a secret mission. It was in Syria, but he didn't tell me where he was in Syria. Now, the thing is that to me is extremely dangerous. You know, you've got a face there of a military person, and you've got hypothetically that face saying he's in the middle of Syria. You know, I should imagine that terrorists know about scammers, but thinking about it, you know, stand back and think about it logically. It's not going to happen unless it's Hollywood. You know?
Exactly. That's a great point. I mean, that's a movie. That's a movie tactic that they use to glorify and make it seem really cool. But in reality, that would never happen, ever. Never, not in a million years.
So we've still got you deployed, and you're there, and your child is back at home with a nanny or an auntie or something, and the child breaks its leg. And because the child hasn't got a mother, it's only got a nanny, the women will be asked to send money for the child's medical care.
Yeah, so...
Your family is covered.
Yes, so as a military member, if you're married or if you have children or anything like that, they are covered with medical benefits to include broken bones, sniffles, coughs,
everything.
Surgeries, things like that, and also dental care as well. So my children, if they broke a leg today or anything like that, they are covered 100%. I would not need external money from anybody to cover you know, those medical bills or expenses, because that's part of being in the military, is that I rate those benefits offered to me and my family. And that's the biggest thing. Not only me, but also my family, my wife, my children, you know, if you're a woman, it's your husband, anything like that. So your kids are covered. And if anyone is asking anyone for money for those things, that's another immediate red flag.
And something else, you know, that I find amusing, is the fact that they will say that when you're deployed, you do not get paid.
I mean, if with just you saying that, if you just think about that for a moment, that doesn't even make sense. When would anyone with any type of job, hi, I'm going to send you away for multiple months, and I'm not going to pay you at all? No one would be okay with that.
No.
But so I mean that doesn't even make sense. But at the same time, you know, being in the military, working for the government, we're always going to get paid. we're going to get paid, twice a month,
Yeah.
every month, no matter what, no matter if there's.
And your bank account is not going to be frozen because you're somewhere.
No, exactly. And all the banks, all the big credit unions, if you're in the military, they know that. So, it's not a secret. It's not, this isn't uncommon knowledge, but, whether there's a recession, no matter what, military members will always get paid, and no matter what, whether I'm stateside, whether I'm deployed, no matter where I'm at, I will always get paid twice a month, no matter what.
We go back to 2020 and your cell phone, because if you had any problems, if you can get on your phone and you can text a woman and ask her for a few thousand, to help, you can get onto your bank and you can sort something out.
Well, not only that, but in the military, there's specific jobs that work with finances. And if you did have a problem with your pay, hypothetically, their job is to resolve that in the quickest way possible. So there are specific jobs that handle that inside the military. So again, like ever needing an outside force from you or anyone else in the world, it's no. And not only that, but it's the amount, right?
Yes.
Hi, I need $20 for gas because my car ran out of gas. Okay, $20, that's one thing. I need $5,000 for this. Okay, hold on. We just really completely changed the value right there.
Yeah. And one of the most common scams is when they're in Afghanistan or Syria, there's various things that's going to be in this package, but they pretend to send a package. Now, in that package, one of the things I understand is from a movie where some Marines were paid in gold or found some gold. And apparently it's quite a few years ago now. But one of the stories is that if they're saying the Marines, the very grateful government of Afghanistan has paid them in some gold. And they've got to get the gold out of Afghanistan. And the person they are talking to is the only person they can trust. Try not to laugh, Taylor. I'm being serious here.
Oh, I know.
Yes. It's very common. It's awful. It is so common. So they are going to wrap up this gold with, sometimes, they'll say, I've got $300,000 in dollar bills in this package. And they are going to mail it by the Red Cross, who I've never heard of send a package to anybody.
Exactly.
Or the UN, who I've never heard of send a package to anybody. So please, from you, because I do tell you, they take it better from you, please tell them that that's never going to happen.
Well, let's just say this, right? In a hypothetical, because we're in this hypothetical conversation, right?
Yeah.
Let's say hypothetically that I did find gold, right? Hypothetically. And I was hypothetically trying to get it out of this country. First of all, if I ever contacted somebody, it would not be you. It would be someone that I personally know and trust to give them this large sum of money in gold and jewels or whatever. It would never be a stranger on the internet that I don't know if I was really trying to do this. And at the same time, I'm trying to process this because, why am I trying to get this gold to you that I found you on Facebook and suddenly you're the only person that could do this? How do I know you're the only person that can do this? I don't even know you at all.
I could be an ISIS terrorist.
You could be. And I don't know that because your profile picture could be anyone, right? Yeah. So, I mean, I think with some of those, like, like a lot of them start small, but some of these stories, they get so loud and they get so unbelievable that it sounds like a movie plot. And I think the biggest thing people need to do is just take a step back, read the message, read however you receive, text message or call, whatever, look at it and just ask yourself, does this make sense? Yeah. Why me? And does that make sense? And, and when you reread it and you take that second, right, that momentary pause to think about it, I think then you'll say, that just doesn't really make sense. It really doesn't make sense in any form, any way, no matter in any context you look at it. It's just not something you could even want to believe that made sense.
And how gold is heavy. Dollar bills are not small, especially if you've got a large amount. How are you
Right.
going to package up and give it to, Fred the diplomat who's going to come and get it?
Well, not only that,
No.
but what kind of postal services are in the middle of Afghanistan?
Yeah,
There's not a
exactly.
post office that ships worldwide again. So I mean, like,
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Now, we're going to move on to something else. Now, what I'm throwing at you are the stories that I hear routinely. So I'm not talking about something I've heard once. I'm talking about things that women pay for, right?
okay.
And you've been out on patrol. I love these on patrols. You've been out on patrol and you've lost the gun.
I lost my weapon.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
And so you've got to pay a couple of $1,000s. Otherwise, you'll be put in prison for it. You see, I'm really educating you tonight.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've never heard of that. I've heard of some of these. Yeah. Some of these
Yeah.
are
It's not uncommon. The losing the weapon is not uncommon. And I mentioned it to somebody else, and he said, "Lose your weapon." He said, "I shower with my weapon."
No, absolutely no. That's a true statement. Your weapon, anytime you have a weapon, that weapon is glued to your side. You do not leave it anywhere. If you go to the shower, it comes with you. You sleep with it. You never go anywhere without it. So for you to lose it, you're not going to lose it. And at the same time, let's say you misplaced it, right? Well, you're not out somewhere by yourself. You're somewhere with your team, your platoon, your unit. Yeah. Somebody is going to pick that up for you, and they're going to have some words with you, but it's not going to go missing. You're not going to lose it. And let's say you did, hypothetically. You contacting someone for money is the least of your worries.
Well, because if you've lost the weapon, and I've heard, you lost bullets and all sorts of things, very, very similar. So if you've lost the weapon, you've got to come back, you've got to get on the phone, you've got to plead and beg with the woman. She's got to arrange to get the money. The money's going to go to an agent. The agent's got to get the money to you. So somebody's going to find out in the meantime. It's not quick. It's going to take a few days to sort this.
Oh, absolutely.
So once again, step back and think about it.
No, agreed. And I think anytime the word agent or middleman is put in any of these conversations, because if I'm going to send you money, it's going to be peer-to-peer, right? Me to you. I'm not going to send it to some person to then send it to you, because again, that's if you're going to send money in today's day and age, right? You have Apple Pay, you have PayPal.
And it's instant, isn't it?
It's instant. It is instant like that. There's no need for a middleman, even if you're in the middle of the desert. If you're anywhere in the world, that's the beauty of technology. You can just send it instantly to anyone at any time without the need of a middleman or Western Union, like we talked about earlier, or any of those third-party individuals to handle it for you.
And the thing is that, just silly little things like I have a grandson and I top up his iTunes. Now I'm talking to him, and whilst we're talking, I go into my Apple store, I send him some money, and then I go back and talk to him again. It takes no organization. It's instant.
Yeah, exactly.
So it takes absolutely no time. If I can be on a text to somebody, I can send money at the same time.
Exactly. Yes, you can.
And I don't need to send it to either a money mule in America or an agent in Nigeria or Turkey or, whatever. So I think the thing is, I would love to say there is never, ever one excuse in the world that a military person would want money.
And I like what you said, and I think even let's say I did need money, right? Hypothetically, in the military, we take care of our own, and that's the brotherhood, and that's the beauty of the military, is that every single person has everyone's back, no matter what, right, wrong, indifferent. We all take care of one another. Period. So if I ever needed anything, or if anyone that I work with, or whatever, anyone ever needed anything, we internally, as ourselves, we would help one another before we ever reached out to a stranger.
Yeah.
So So that's another big takeaway too, is that we take care of our own, no matter what branch you're in, no matter what military, anywhere in the world, right?
Yeah,
Military, we have a special bond that makes us unique, and with that bond is taking care of each other no matter what, whether it's financially, if because sometimes people run into financial trouble.
yeah.
We're all humans, right? Um, but that's what we do. We're not going to go on Facebook or wherever and send you an email, some sob story, asking you to send us any amount of anything.
What gets me is because I'm still attached to military in the UK. What gets me is it really damages the reputation around the world of the military, because I've had people say to me, "Oh, don't talk to an American soldier. All they want is money," and that is awful.
It is, but I think with that, it's people educating themselves, because you can't just take someone's word from it. Just because somebody was scammed doesn't mean. Obviously, it wasn't a real service member, but you have to fact check yourself, right? You have to get the big picture, of the military, and you really have to ask yourself: is every single person really doing this out of the hundreds of thousands of people?
Yeah.
Because if we were, hypothetically, we wouldn't be who we are. We wouldn't be a military. You know what I mean? So.
Well, if you were doing it yourself and you were scamming us yourself, if you went on Tinder this week and you decided to meet somebody, and within a month you'd managed to get that person $5,000, and she found out it was you, and she reported you, you'd be a really, really bad scammer if you were using your own face.
Well, very true. That's true. But let's say an actual service member did do that, hypothetically, right? One bad apple, right, or one bad seed is going to plague the entire organization.
Yeah.
So, again, it's one of those moments where you step back and you look at, does that really make sense?
Yeah.
And when you ask yourself that, it won't.
And that is just about all of it to me, because it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. And they call people, they'll get a letter from the commander, and they call them their wife and things like that. Well, you can't be a wife. You can't have a wife to somebody you've never met. If I have a husband, I would like to meet him first.
Agreed.
and it doesn't make sense at all that anybody would consider themselves a wife to a man they've never met. And I have a lady, just to end, I have a lady, because General Milley and Scott Miller are the two most used. I mean, they use them all, which surprises that nothing's done about it, but they use them all. But Austin Scott Miller is maybe the most. And I had to talk to a woman who he was coming home to marry her, next week. And she had spent around $50,000, and she had opened a bank account for him to put his retirement money in, because he was retiring from Afghanistan. He was retiring. She made a bank account to put his retirement money in, and paid tens of thousands of dollars in fees to allow these transactions. And it makes no sense. Stop laughing. It makes no sense, because, again, it is stepping back and thinking about it.
Well, not agreed 100%. And not only that, if you transfer any amounts of money, when have you ever paid tens of thousands of dollars?
Yeah, you don't.
No, you don't even do that. Nowhere in the world that I'm aware of are you paying that amount of money ever to transfer any amount of money. Most of the time it's free. So
it is. I mean, we used to pay, fees in bank accounts, but
a few
that
dollars.
was a very long time ago.
Right.
And everything now is just instant. Somebody sends you some money. We do it all the time between us in here. And it's instant, it's just in your bank account. You're not paying for it. You're not doing it at all, So the big thing we can say is the military do not need money for anything. The military are not, General Joseph Martin. He's another one. And you know, it's heartbreaking, but it could all be stopped. It really could all be stopped with standing back and just looking to see, you know, if you're away, you're not going to ask somebody for the bank account, the social security number.
No, definitely not that. No.
Yeah. So that, you know, they ask for social security numbers and they get them. As I said to you, take a picture of the front and the back of your credit card. That's not going to be asked for. That's not going to be needed. So step back, you know, say no first, step back. But you know, what I would like is any contact where anybody says the military, to just kick them out, because they're not, and they're not going to be.
That's true. And one thing I've noticed recently is I've had some people have made some fake accounts with me, and people have sent me messages saying, you know, this person is trying to, they message me pretending to be you and all those other things. But not only that, but if someone messages you on an account that has 0 or 1 or 2 friends, that's a red flag. If all the pictures were posted in the last day, right? Because a lot of these accounts are brand new and they immediately go after you. The picture was posted 5 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago. I mean, there are some aspects to these profiles that contact you that don't look real. Because if you know, I'm sure everyone watching, you know, they have a Facebook or Instagram. If you go on someone's, a friend of yours, social media account, they have pictures going back a certain amount of time. They have comments from their friends.
Comments,
and stuff like
that's
like,
the main thing, isn't it?
comments, and you know, there's interaction with people that kind of humanize the account. But if an account that had no pictures, no posts, was just created, contacts you, giving you, you know, a story like this, that's a red flag immediately. It just, you know, again, it's one of those things. Do a quick Google search. Just go on the internet. Everyone has access to the internet in the palm of their hands, right? Every single person.
Yeah.
It's so common. Google, you know, military scams. I think that's a good one. Just Google military scams, and a lot of things we talked about will probably pop up.
Absolutely, everything can be found, and everything, you know. And the sad thing is, they find us. They'll come to me and they'll tell me all about it because they've already done it. All this money's gone. You know, the scams happened where it was a year down the line, and so, you know, check at the beginning. I would. I check everything, and that to me is human nature. You know, you look before you walk over the road.
True.
So why are you going to let somebody into your life and start to send them money? You know, the things that you said about the accounts as well. Even if they've taken over another account, that's my Brandon. Even if they're taking over another account, you know, every they add only women. So the followers and the following are all women. You know, that doesn't happen on a military account. You've all got all the people that you know on there. Exactly. And you've all got you know, you've all got comments, and you put something on, and I can absolutely guarantee that you put something on and somebody will put a sarcastic comment on or a funny comment.
Right. There'll be some sort of interaction with it.
Yeah, it's banter, isn't it? You know, it's how it is. You know, that's human life. But on a scammer account, there isn't. It's just all, you know, sort of blank. Don't know what he's doing. Brian. Yeah. So thank you very much, Taylor. I do hope that, you know, as I said, the thing that I got out of doing these is presenting you as people. Mm-hmm. Because when they use your pictures, they will probably not do a voice call. But if they do, they have a voice that's nothing like yours at all.
That's a really good, I mean, that's a really good point too. I mean, you know, I'm a white male. I have you know, I don't have an accent, and you know, different individuals, they have different voices and they sound different. You know, different ethnicities and regions of the world, everyone sounds different. So if you look at a picture and the voice doesn't match it, you know, that's a red flag. I mean,
you know, you get a voice call and they're obviously African, and then you look at the person that they're trying to be, and they just don't go, and voices do go with people.
Well, not only that, but if the call is very choppy and there's lots of like white noise and you know, it kind of cuts in and out too. I mean, you know, I've been all over the world and I've used my cell phone all over the world, and I've been able to have crystal clear conversations all over the world on a phone. I've never been, you know, in a place where my cell reception was so bad that I couldn't use it. I mean, there are places like that, but
not so many.
Right. I mean, it's in today's day and age with cell towers and technology stuff, they're very few between, even out in the desert in the middle of nowhere. So
yeah. So the thing is, just think about it. You know, put everything together. And do you still get contacted by people who say they've seen you?
Yeah, actually, I get I was getting a lot on Instagram. People were sending me messages, and now I'm getting messages on Facebook, and people are sending.
They don't use your name. That's the difficult
part. So they were.
you.
So at first they were, but what I realized and what I noticed myself was looking at some of these accounts, especially on Facebook. At first it was like 0, 1, maybe a handful of friends. But what I've noticed that they're doing now is, and it's smart, is they're taking an account that has 1,500 people. They're changing the name and they're changing the picture to my picture, your picture, whoever's, to where the account looks legitimate.
Yeah.
And then they're contacting people. So if you look at the account, you're like, oh, this must be a real person, because there's a lot of people they're friends with and there's a lot of activity on it. But what they're doing is, once they've scammed someone or once they've reached out, they wipe the picture, wipe the name, they change it to someone new, and they do the same thing over and over and over again. But if
scroll down through it, because you can often get what they haven't taken out.
Exactly. Not only that, if you click the friends list, which I did, a lot of these scammers, they are coming out of Nigeria. I've been, you know, I get a ton of friend requests every single day from people coming out of Nigeria, and I don't know anyone in Nigeria. But I get a lot of followers and requests from people like that. And these accounts that have been using my pictures and other people who I know's pictures, I've clicked on the friends, and it's a lot of Nigerians, because they'll friend each other, right? And then they'll use someone else's pictures to go scam someone, but they're
like them.
They're friending each other, which is an obvious that this is a Nigerian scam at the same time. So those are just some things to look out for.
And they use Indian accounts as well.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, they'll take Indian accounts, and sometimes they have, you know, a couple of thousand friends. But when you look at the friends, they're all from India or Bangladesh.
Right. I mean, and you know, I think at the end of the day, you know, with everything we've talked about today, the biggest thing is, why would you send any amount of money to a stranger that you don't, you know? And then before you send that money, right, no matter how urgent it is, no matter what excuse is being given, my child is going to die in 5 minutes or whatever, you know, anything, just ask yourself, why me? And why would I give this person this money? Because like you said, once it's gone, it is gone forever. You will never, ever get it back.
Yeah. And you know, I don't like it where, you know, they've sent sort of $500, $1,000 gift cards. Well, you know, the average Walmart shouldn't be selling those. But yeah, money does not come back, ladies. It doesn't matter who is going to tell you that. It doesn't matter who's going to tell you they can get it back. They can't.
Exactly.
So, right. Thank you very much, Taylor.
Oh, you're very welcome.
We've talked for a long time, but I did tell you I could talk forever. Well, I can. I'm English. We do it. But thank you very much. You've been so informative. And, you know, this is going to be very, very useful to people.
Oh, you're very welcome. I hope I can help someone watching this video just educate themselves more and avoid being scammed. So
if we can cut down on it, and then the word gets around and people can start telling other people, and, you know, we can put a rude dent in it. But everybody, thanks for watching. This is Taylor. I'm going to say goodbye.
All right. Thank you.
And we'll talk again.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, Taylor. Bye now.